Greetings, adventurers! This is Valinet from WoWGoldTitans, and welcome to another Quests of Lore That Don't Bore, this time the Dungeon Edition. We're here at the Scarlet Monastery in the Graveyard. Here is a view of the Scarlet Monastery as seen from the ruins of Lordaeron. There are two spires isolated up in the mountains. As mentioned in the Quests of Lore That Don't Bore series, the Scarlet Monastery is home to the neutral faction, the Scarlet Crusade, whose main purpose is to drive out the undead. A little history about the Scarlet Monastery. There are 4 sections to the monastery: the Cathedral, the Graveyard, the Armory, and the Library. All 4 zones are accessible through the main walkway. The Alliance teams up with a group of former members of the Crusade. These Scarlet Renegades openly rebelled against the Order and seek to retake one of the last Scarlet Crusade strongholds in the world. The Horde seeks to annex the monastery under the leadership of Dark Ranger Villanora, because the Scarlet Crusade poses a direct threat to the safety of the Forsaken living in the Undercity.
What brings you here?
Since Vanilla, or Classic WoW, the 4 zones had a leveling range from level 28 to 41. In the Mists of Pandaria expansion, there will be a level 90 heroic version of the dungeon. Here is a quote from wowpedia.org. "The instance will also be redesigned. It will now consist of 2 wings instead of 4. The Graveyard and Cathedral will be merged into the first, Scarlet Cathedral, while the Armory and Library will be the second, Scarlet Halls. The first section of the Scarlet Monastery is the Graveyard that one would normally quest through. The first room in the Graveyard is called the Chamber of Atonement, where the first boss, Interrogator Vishas, leads a group of torturers to get information and confessions out of their prisoners, usually Forsaken captives from the Undercity. A named mob, Forsaken Vorel Sungits, is personally tortured by Vishas and occasionally shouts, tell me everything!" And if you are an Alliance player, you will be able to understand the basic dialogue that's going on between the mobs. But as a Horde player, it's just gibberish. The second room is the Forlorn Cloister. This is where you will find tombstones, risen dead, ghosts, phantoms, and some crypts. There are 3 rare spawns that might show up, and they act as bosses. During the Hollow's End event, this is where the Headless Horseman boss encounter happens. But that is a story for another video. The largest and only explorable crypt is Honor Tomb. More risen dead and ghosts appear until the culmination of the final boss, Blood Mage Thalnos. It is assumed that Thalnos' title means that he was a Blood Elf mage in life and was corrupted by the Scourge. The fact that there are so many risen dead, ghosts, and a lich, like Blood Mage, in the backyard of the monastery is odd, since the Scarlet Crusade wishes to destroy all undead. And as I've put in clips of the beta footage of the Scarlet Cathedral, you'll see a lot of differences between what used to be in Vanilla, Burning Crusade, Lich King, and Cataclysm, and how the dungeon will appear in Mists of Pandaria. A lot of places have been changed, more mobs have been added, different mobs have been added, and more noticeably, the Interrogator's room is no longer there in the beta, in Mists of Pandaria. Instead, you go straight to the Graveyard, where Scarlet Crusade members are actively trying to purge the undead. You'll see piles of corpses, you'll see risen dead, you'll even see Scarlet Crusade members with flamethrowers. Then, instead of the exploration of the crypt on her tomb, Blood Mage Thalnos, renamed Thalnos the Soul Render, is just standing at the top of his tomb. He has some different abilities, but he's basically the same character. The tomb where the Headless Horseman event happened has been removed, and access to the cathedral has been added. but we'll talk more about the cathedral in another video. Well, I've hoped you have enjoyed the Quests of Lore That Don't Bore Dungeon Edition on the Scarlet Monastery Graveyard, and be sure to subscribe for more, as well as the continuing parts of the cathedral, the armory, and the library. Later, adventurers!